Swiss Microbrand watches offer a fresh perspective on timekeeping, blending creativity, craftsmanship, and individuality. Unlike mainstream brands, these watches tell stories through design, attention to detail, and unique character. From vintage-inspired divers to modern minimalist pieces, each Microbrand brings something different to the wrist. In this video, we'll explore a selection of standout Swiss Microbrands, highlighting watches that combine style, personality, and thoughtful engineering. So let's get started. Formex REEF GMT. Let's start with a watch that feels very modern, without trying too hard. The Formex REEF GMT is one of those pieces that quietly shows how far independent Swiss brands have come. At first glance, it looks clean and purposeful, but the more time you spend with it, the more thoughtful details you notice. This is clearly a watch designed for people who actually wear their watches every day, not just collectors who keep them in a box. What I like here is the balance. It doesn't scream tool watch, and it doesn't feel dressy either. It sits comfortably in the middle, which makes it easy to live with. The GMT function feels practical rather than flashy, especially if you travel or just like tracking another time zone. By the end of the day, the REEF GMT feels like a watch you'd reach for without thinking. It's dependable, well thought out, and quietly confident. And sometimes that's exactly what you want on your wrist. The SOUS-MARINE 2 from Laventure feels like it came from another era, but in a good way. This is a watch that leans heavily into vintage inspiration, yet it doesn't feel like a copy of something old. Instead, it feels like a modern interpretation of what a classic dive watch should be today. There's a strong sense of character here. Everything about it feels intentional, from the way the case wears to the overall simplicity of the design. It doesn't overload you with text or distractions, which makes it surprisingly refreshing. You can tell this watch was designed by someone who cares deeply about proportions and long-term wear. As time passes, the SOUS-MARINE 2 feels more like a companion than just an accessory. It has that quiet charm that grows on you the more you use it. When you take it off, you almost miss it, and that's usually a sign that a watch has done its job well. The H Moser and SOUS Streamliner Perpetual Moon. Now this one takes a very different direction. The Streamliner Perpetual Moon from H Moser and CE doesn't follow the usual rules of Swiss watch design. Instead of being loud or complicated on the surface, it stays calm, smooth, and almost minimal in the way it presents itself. The design feels fluid, almost organic, especially on the wrist. Nothing feels sharp or aggressive. It's a watch that invites you to slow down and actually look at it, rather than just checking the time and moving on. Even with its more poetic complication, it never feels overwhelming. What really stands out is the mood it creates. This isn't a watch for rushing through the day. It feels reflective, almost personal. When you wear it, it changes how you interact with time itself. And when you take it off, it leaves a lasting impression. Quiet, elegant, and deeply thoughtful. Victorinox Swiss Army Automatic is all about honesty. There's no mystery here, no hidden message. It tells you exactly what it is the moment you see it. A straightforward Swiss watch, designed to be reliable, practical, and easy to live with. This is the kind of watch that fits into real life effortlessly. Whether you're at work, outdoors, or just going about your day, it never feels out of place. The design is clean and familiar, which actually works in its favour. You don't have to think about how to style it or when to wear it. Over time, the Swiss Army Automatic becomes a watch you trust. You stop noticing it on your wrist, and that's a good thing. It's there when you need it, invisible when you don't. And in a world full of over-designed watches, that kind of simplicity feels surprisingly refreshing. Edox Delfin Mecano Automatic brings a slightly bolder energy to the table. From the start, it feels more expressive, almost playful, without crossing into being too loud. There's a sense of depth and structure that makes it interesting to look at, even after repeated wear. This is a watch that enjoys showing a bit of personality. It feels sporty, but not careless, strong but still refined enough for everyday use. You can tell it's built with durability in mind, Yet it doesn't forget that a watch should also be enjoyable to look at. By the time you've worn it for a while, the Delfin Mecano feels like a confident choice. It doesn't try to please everyone, and that's part of its charm. When you take it off at the end of the day, it feels like a watch that left its mark. Subtle, solid, and full of character. Glycine Combat Sub. There's a certain honesty you notice right away with the Glycine Combat Sub. It doesn't try to surprise you, and it doesn't pretend to be something it's not. Instead, it presents itself as a straightforward dive watch with a long history behind it. Wearing it through the day feels familiar in a reassuring way. The design is clean and legible, making it easy to live with whether you're outdoors or just going about daily routines. It feels sturdy without being bulky, which helps it stay comfortable even after hours on the wrist. Nothing here feels experimental, and that consistency is part of the appeal. By the time you take it off, the Combat Sub feels dependable rather than exciting, and that's not a weakness. It's a watch that earns trust through repetition. Over time, it becomes the kind of piece you reach for without hesitation, simply because you know it will do its job without asking anything from you. Movado SE. This watch approaches design from a different angle. The Movado SE feels more urban and modern, leaning into style without forgetting everyday wearability. At first look, it feels intentional, as if it were designed with a specific mood in mind. On the wrist, it carries itself with confidence. The look is clean and slightly expressive, making it easy to pair with casual outfits while still feeling refined enough for more polished settings. It doesn't overwhelm, but it doesn't disappear either. There's a balance here that keeps it interesting throughout the day. What you notice most by the end is its presence. The Movado SE doesn't rely on tradition or nostalgia. It stands on its own. When you take it off, it feels like a watch that reflects a certain attitude. It's not about heritage or storytelling, but about how it fits into a modern, everyday lifestyle. Atlantic Automatic Moonphase. Some watches immediately create a sense of calm, and this is one of them. The Atlantic Automatic Moonphase feels gentle in its approach, offering a design that invites you to slow down rather than rush through the day. Spending time with it feels almost reflective. The layout is clear, and the overall presentation feels balanced and thoughtful. It's the kind of watch you enjoy glancing at, not because you're in a hurry, but because it gives you a small pause. It works well in quieter moments, whether you're at a desk or winding down in the evening. When the day comes to an end, this watch leaves a soft impression. It doesn't dominate your wrist or your attention. Instead, it becomes part of the background rhythm of your day. That subtle presence is what makes it easy to appreciate, long after the first wear. Zodiac Pro Diver Automatic. The Zodiac Pro Diver feels like it was built with movement in mind. There's an energy to it that becomes noticeable as soon as you strap it on, even if you're not going anywhere adventurous. Throughout the day, it feels lively but controlled. The design carries a sporty tone without becoming overwhelming, making it versatile enough for everyday use. It has a certain confidence that comes from knowing exactly what kind of watch it is, without trying to stretch beyond that identity. What stays with you is its attitude. The Pro Diver doesn't slow down or soften itself. It stays consistent from morning to night. When you finally take it off, it feels like a watch that enjoys being worn, not stored away. That sense of readiness gives it a character that feels genuine and refreshing. This watch starts with a sense of warmth. The C02 Baby Heritage Bourbon immediately feels inviting, like something familiar yet thoughtfully refined. It doesn't rush to explain itself, allowing the design to speak naturally. Wearing it feels comfortable and relaxed. The proportions feel considered, and the overall look leans more toward charm than precision. It's easy to imagine this watch fitting into slower days, casual settings, or moments when you're not checking the time too closely. As the hours pass, the watch settles in quietly. It doesn't demand attention, but it rewards it when you notice the details. When you take it off, there's a lingering sense of ease. It feels like a watch chosen for enjoyment rather than necessity, and that relaxed personality is what makes it quietly memorable. Not every watch aims to feel familiar, and this one makes that clear right from the start. The Ikigai Kame Mystic Purple leans into individuality, offering a look that feels expressive without becoming chaotic. Once it's on the wrist, the watch feels intentional rather than experimental. There's a sense that the design was shaped by mood and creativity, not by trends. It wears comfortably, and over time, the boldness settles into something more personal. You don't feel like you're wearing it for others. It feels more like something chosen for yourself. As the day goes on, the watch reveals small moments of character rather than demanding constant attention. That balance keeps it enjoyable rather than tiring. When you finally take it off, it doesn't feel like a statement piece you're done with. It feels like a watch you'll return to when you want something that reflects personality instead of convention. The Monta Noble begins with a sense of polish that's immediately noticeable. It feels composed, like a watch that knows exactly where it belongs without needing to announce itself. As you wear it, everything feels intentional. The design stays clean and balanced, making it easy to forget you're wearing something carefully crafted. It transitions smoothly between settings, whether you're dressed casually or a bit more formal. There's a quiet refinement here that becomes more apparent the longer it stays on your wrist. What stands out most is how natural it feels over time. The Noble doesn't rely on bold moves or strong contrasts. Instead, it builds trust through consistency. When you finally remove it, it feels like a watch that could easily become a daily habit. That understated confidence is what gives it lasting appeal. There's a calm, almost reflective tone to the Alato Arvet automatic from the moment you see it. It doesn't push itself forward, and that restraint feels refreshing. Wearing it feels relaxed and unforced. The design favours clarity and balance, making it easy to read and easy to live with. It feels suited for slower moments, long walks, quiet work days, or evenings when time doesn't feel rushed. Nothing here feels excessive, which gives the watch a sense of honesty. As the day winds down, the Arvet feels settled, like it's always been part of your routine. It doesn't create excitement, it creates comfort. When you take it off, there's a gentle satisfaction in knowing the watch did exactly what it needed to do, without distraction. That simplicity is where its strength quietly lives. The SERICA 8315 feels purposeful the second it's on your wrist. There's a sense of direction in its design, as if every element was chosen for a reason, rather than decoration. Throughout the day, it carries a strong but controlled presence. It feels practical and composed, never drifting into excess. The watch feels equally at home in active moments and quieter ones, adapting easily without changing its personality. That versatility makes it surprisingly easy to rely on. What becomes clear by the end of the day is its confidence. The 8315 doesn't need to prove itself, it simply performs. When you take it off, it feels like a tool that earned your respect rather than demanded your attention. That quiet authority is what makes it memorable long after it leaves your wrist. Straum titanium, stormy seas. From the moment you pick it up, the Baltic Aquascaphe feels purposeful. It has an air of precision, without being overly technical, making it approachable even if you're not a long-time watch enthusiast. Wearing it, the details slowly reveal themselves. The dial has depth that invites closer inspection, and the proportions make it comfortable for daily wear. There's a quiet charm in how it balances vintage inspiration with modern sensibilities. It doesn't try to dominate your wrist, instead, it settles in and works alongside your daily rhythm. The scale graph leaves a subtle impression. It's not flashy or dramatic, but it rewards those who pay attention. When you set it aside, there's a lingering sense that it's more than just a tool. It's a companion that quietly enhances your day. That understated personality is what makes it memorable. Every detail in the Baltic Aquascaphe seems intentional from the very first glance. It doesn't shout for attention, but there's a quiet precision that makes you want to take a closer look. Once it's on your wrist, the watch slowly reveals its personality. The dial has subtle depth, and the overall balance keeps it comfortable for long wear. It blends vintage charm with modern sensibilities, creating a sense of thoughtfulness without feeling overdone. You notice small details the longer you wear it, and that discovery is part of its appeal. By the end of the day, The scale graph leaves a lingering impression, not flashy, not dramatic, but quietly memorable. It's the kind of watch that fits seamlessly into your routine while still rewarding moments of attention, leaving you with a sense that it's more companion than accessory. The Yema Navygraph Pearl CMM.20 immediately conveys readiness. From the first moment, it feels like a watch built for adventure, without being overly aggressive or flashy. On the wrist, it balances sturdiness with everyday comfort. Its design feels purposeful, versatile enough for both casual days and more active pursuits. The presence of a subtle character keeps it interesting without ever being overwhelming. It adapts naturally, feeling just as at home on a desk as it does out in the world. When the day winds down, the Navygraph leaves a subtle sense of reliability. It doesn't demand constant attention, but it earns respect through quiet confidence. That feeling of readiness and adaptability makes it a watch you can count on in any situation. The Venezianico Nereide starts with a sense of balance. It's bold enough to notice, yet refined enough to never feel out of place. Wearing it, you quickly sense the thought behind every curve and proportion. The watch manages to be both expressive and understated, with a personality that emerges gradually rather than shouting immediately. It moves seamlessly between casual and refined settings, adapting to its environment with ease. The Nereide leaves a quiet impression of elegance and intention. It's a watch that rewards observation and feels confident in its identity. That blend of subtlety and character gives it a lasting presence. The Pedral Maestro feels calm and purposeful right from the moment it's worn. It doesn't seek attention, it earns it through design and wearability. On the wrist, it's easy to forget it's even there because it fits naturally with daily life. The proportions are well considered, making it versatile across different occasions. It's sophisticated without being formal and approachable without feeling generic. Small details gradually reveal themselves over time, giving the watch personality without needing to be loud. The Maestro has settled into your routine, quietly supporting your timekeeping rather than dominating it. When removed, it leaves a subtle satisfaction, the kind of impression that makes you want to reach for it again. Some watches feel like they carry a rhythm of their own, and that Lesablier Chronosport is one of them. From the first moment on your wrist, it gives a sense of motion and purpose without being loud or flashy. Wearing it, you notice how balanced it feels. The sporty elements are paired with refined proportions, creating a watch that is as comfortable for daily wear as it is visually engaging. Light plays across the dial in subtle ways, keeping the design interesting throughout the day without demanding attention. It's a watch that feels alive, yet measured, and it encourages you to notice it without forcing itself into focus. The Chronosport leaves a lingering sense of quiet energy. It's not about showing off, it's about presence, subtle movement, and personality that stays with you after it's taken off. That refined dynamism makes it memorable in a very understated way. That wraps up our list of standout Swiss Microbrand watches you should know about in 2025. If any of these caught your eye, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more watch reviews, insights, and unique timepiece discoveries.